Hey everybody, it's Last Robokai here, and it's time for some more Fate Samurai Remnant. I'm joined by Cool Guy, and we're off to another location in the game world today, because after learning he has been drawn into a horrible magical battle royale, Iori has gone, yeah, but I gotta eat, and so he's gonna go to work, which,
A man does need to eat, like...
And he also now has an extra mouth to feed as well, because Saber is coming along for the ride.
Oh god, true story. Man, what a mouth that is already.
Yes, already such a burden. Anyway, yeah, this is a long one because we're going to be doing a fair amount of questing around and doing stuff. So let's get stuck straight in. It's time to head out. We're not leaving just yet. Oh, and yeah, Gramps is coming along. the talking magical book is coming along. He'll be very useful. He supplies a lot of exposition that the other two are completely incapable of saying.
I mean, it's more Iori can't, and Saber absolutely refuses to.
I just love the sparkling eyes.
Saber immediately wants to get tobacco.
Oi! あの刀を刺した集団は何だ? 守られているのは誰だ? わかったのだな。いや、待て。いずこかの姫が断層でお忍びの最中かもしれない。
They know what they're doing.
That seems like a very specific and revealing guess.
茶屋という。やれやれ。物珍しさに目を白黒させているな。まあ無理もない。俺も最初はそうだった。江戸の街並み、大いに面食らったものだ。それはそうだろう。何しろ、人がこんなにもたくさんいて。
Some of which you knocked down.
こんなにもたくさんあるのだ。
Yeah, like
それは
just really sweeping that part under the carpet already.
これはなんというか、とてもなんだ? 人の営みに感じ入る。平らかなる世を知らずに生きた人物か。
Of which there are many in Japanese history.
Yeah, like you're gonna have to be more specific there, Iori.
He's trying to work it out. He's trying to narrow it down as he goes, based on because Saber's not going to tell him.
Saber has literally already refused to tell him.
Mostly out of impudence.
Yeah.
But yes, we're going to Yoshiwara today. How familiar are you with the concept of Edo as a place? Because I can tell you what, I'm not very knowledgeable on it.
I have some decent knowledge of the Edo period, I suppose. You know,
But of Edo itself.
Yeah, Edo itself, not really. Like it's largely a okay. She's fucking booking it. It's a very peaceful time in Japanese history, which is both. It's really interesting on the surface, and it gets slowly more depressing the more you read about it.
Yeah, that much I know about. But yeah, occasionally Saber, well, not even occasionally. There's lots of places around the game world, and even the map. Saber will be like, "Wait, what's that?" And so you go over and you talk to Saber, and you'll I love that face so much. I did say the best facial expressions were coming. Saber is the best facial expressions. And every time you do one of these, you get a skill point that can be used to level up Saber, which we obviously haven't actually like unlocked Saber's character tree yet. Won't do that for a little bit. But also, food stalls, you can, just like you would in games like Yakuza, just go up and buy food. You can buy some to go, or you can buy some to eat in.
Oh, man, soba sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah, the game kind of tracks that as well.
Poor guy.
Yeah, the waxing moon ritual is not kind on anyone. Least of all people who are just caught up in it.
I just wanted to open my shop.
わずかに魔力を感じた。夕べの奴らとは違うようだ。
はような街中での確かめた方が良さそうじゃな。
Well, the Codex says it. I'm inclined to believe it. Saber saying it just makes it sound like there's a fight over there, and she just really wants to be a fight idiot.
It's time to punch. But yes, it's good to trust both their instincts on this one because, well, we have a slight problem starting to develop because of this waxing moon ritual.
なんだあれは。もののけか。
まあそうだ。いわゆる怪異の類じゃな。大方夕べより江戸一帯に渦巻きたる魔力に当てられ湧き出て。
話は後だ、おじいさん。行く手を阻むならば切る。
I mean, they're not really blocking your path. You can turn around and walk away, but I grant your point that it's not really a good idea to.
Yeah, so here's the next tier of enemies that kind of sits between humans and servants. There are monsters in this game. And so they're a lot tankier. But you can still knock them out the usual methods here. I'm just sort of, it's been a little bit since I last played, so I was just sort of like getting my controls back in. And I'm like, oh, I can't stop that. Hold on, how do I stop this? And then riposte.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's just sort of reminding us that we can use affinity techniques even if we're not controlling Saber, so... but you can't use them when you're getting knocked over, so... we just got belly flopped by a skeleton.
Both Neo and Fate Samurai Remnant agreed that a belly flop is one of the most ultimate moves that a skeleton Ashigaru has.
Yeah, you don't have to really use like affinity techniques when these basic level enemies are doing that though. You can definitely use a heavy attack, and I will remember that eventually. Because there is yet another sort of existence.
I love that skeleton just mugging for the camera there for a moment.
It's like Elden Ring levels of just like waiting for the swing to come down. Is not a compliment. Yeah, and so whenever you hit an enemy when they're doing that little recovery stage, that actually gives you more affinity gauge. I will not stop eating doo-doo in this particular round. I'm also really bad at reading the moves of some of these monsters. There's like one particular one that's coming later in this episode, and even now I still don't understand how to.
I'll start gigging you for it when it seems relevant that you do avoid these moves in a real way. Because like right now, the only thing I'm looking at is, hey, these guys are kind of punching bags, and there's a soba stand right around the corner.
Yeah, we can snack if we want to. The game has and the other sort of nice thing about monsters is they drop gems a lot, so you can restock your gems via fighting monsters for the most part. But we're not done yet because there are sort of much stronger versions of monsters as well.
Phantom Ogre Warrior.
Yeah, so this is a big dead guy.
Okay, if you say
he's
so.
about to introduce...
That's whatever you're saying there.
Yeah,
for
he's
ya.
about to introduce another problematic mechanic for us to have to deal with. So here's the thing, right? Magical beings normally they don't take damage from non-magical stuff. Essentially, Iori and other swords masters who might be at Iori's level can actually affect it, but you have to sort of strip away the magical shell around it before you can start doing proper damage. So essentially what this means is that bosses will, or enemies, servants will have these shells as well, and as do these bigger monster types. They will have a shield, and they will take damage when you hit them, but they'll take less damage. But once that shield falls, you get way more opportunities to like do damage to them. And it's like, even it's saying here, like you can strip them a lot easier using affinity techniques, or ripostes do a pretty good job of it too. And you can riposte pretty much all of their moves if you know what you're doing.
I appreciate that that you can dodge from the hurt zone into the hurt zone, and it's still just like, nah, you're good.
And I said Rolling Rapids was kind of cracked. That's Rolling Rapids is kind of cracked still.
Right. Well, yeah, that's definitely cracked.
And yeah, and see, now it's gone. We can actually interrupt this particular kinds of enemy, do more damage.
Oh, fool.
Yeah, I was looking real good for a second there. But yeah, and as you can see, we do way more damage once that shell's gone. So that's basically going to be a lot of the things we have to deal with.
Later, dude.
やれやれこの手のものが他にもいるのか
人の多い場所には出まいが、まあ人の少ない裏手謎には湧くやもしれん。
あれ式の怪異がなんだ。さあ、吉原へ向かうぞ。
そうじゃいおり。先ほど何やら拾っておった。
So here now, they're introducing the equipment mechanic for the game. In other games, you might wear different armor in order to develop your character. What I find fairly cute about this particular game is that you get pieces that you use to alter your katana instead. The blade will always be the same, but you change, like, you know, you change the grip, you change the sheath, you change the guard, and there's also like these little decorations as well you change, and so they change up a lot of different stuff. So we just got a new guard that changes our the power of our heavy attacks, and those little mallets that are sort of next to them are how many times you can use upgrade materials on them before, like, you've maxed out that particular thing.
いくらかが宿ったのか以後留意しよう
I appreciate that they basically went ship of Theseus on you, because the only thing that you're not changing here is the blade.
Yeah, and there will be a mini game later for sharpening the blade too. And because we just accomplished a few things now, we've unlocked some more stuff. So we have access to a healing spell. It's a slow regen. So that's nice. So we'll put that on. And there's also like the starting wheel has some basic stuff, and they have a few requirements like, hey, use spells this number of times to unlock this, that sort of thing.
Right.
And but by defeating enemies, so you sort of notice that there's those two ones that are sort of peeled off into the distance there. They're stance related, so once you defeat 100 enemies in a particular stance, they will, and you unlock the stuff up to that point, you'll be able to start going into a tree more dedicated to the particular stance type, which all have like a lot more involved requirements and things for unlocking stuff.
Right.
And cost more skill gems and like skill points to boost up. So there's a lot of stuff around here. We're gonna go kill some more monsters and stuff before we go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, looks like more fights in the forgotten back plazas.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, we're around to get some soba while we're just around.
Look,
here.
man. Good job, Saber.
Yeah, Saber's probably just coming from an era that just didn't have good chili, but. The other reason is we're gonna check out a few things in the area as well, because we now have access to the signboard, which I'm gonna go over to soon enough, and it'll tell us all the things we can get up to. And with the, yeah, Earth stance, largely indifferent.
Good job, jackass.
Yeah, hitting a riposte almost always sets you into afterglow, so if you like wanna like switch stances and get silly, that's your best time to do it. You can hear I'm just kind of like, oh, I'll use this. I do that.
I was gonna say,
I do that almost
like,
on instinct. You can use heavy attacks. I'm just.
I don't know. The way you're doing it is kind of funnier, honestly. Just like, I am going to do my big deadly... No, you're not.
Just hitting him with, like, basically, like,
未だ半ば
big hose. Yeah, so there's... We'll hit a few shrines around the way, because a couple of things we need to do is, like, we need to sort of unlock all of our tasks, which you can complete without having seen the sign, which kind of, you know, but it kind of helps. We're going to look at the sign eventually, don't worry, but, like, I'm trying to figure out my best pathing to go around here.
I'm still having fun with the crap you're picking up. It's just like a straw, like some straw, and then some cloth scraps. Like, we're really being discerning here.
Yeah. Well, one of the big things about this is that eventually we're going to start being able to upgrade our home base with all sorts of different bonuses and things like that. And so, one of the nice things as well for picking up equipment is you can dismantle it and components for that as well, and you can buy some components from stores. And you just need to keep building up how much you've got of everything, because there is a lot of stuff and they have a lot of like requirements. The game is nice enough that once you actually have access to a knowledge of a certain like upgrade, when you go into a store or whatever, the game will basically tell you what you might need that for if you need it at all. So the game is really intuitive in that regard, like, which is quite pleasant.
Speaking of intuitive, I also appreciate how as you're petting cats and dogs, you're slowly regenerating health.
Yes.
That it like they expected me not to notice that, but you better believe I noticed that.
Yeah. And the other reason we're sort of running around at the moment is one of the tasks says for this area is actually, hey, go eat everywhere.
I mean, that honestly, that sounds like a really good. Excuse me. Yeah, that sounds like a really good thing to do. Basically, regardless. You're in a place, you should definitely sample the local cuisine.
Get all the food up here. There are a few things I don't realize haven't spawned yet as well. Like, here is a, like, later on we'll unlock ability to see sort of like little like locations around certain spots on a map and like tap into them. A lot of these extra tasks I'm sort of like getting us into are actually tracked by the game and give you rewards for doing them. Like there's 3 different sort of people who track different sorts of little odd job tasks. Like there's one that tracks all the combat related stuff, there's one that tracks like monster slaying, and there's one that just sort of just tracks visiting stores, eating at food places, talking to certain NPCs.
If there's not one that tracks petting cats and dogs, I'm gonna be real damn disappointed.
Yeah, we unlocked that one actually fairly late into the acts, but it does keep track of those now. So like, you know, when you've accomplished it and you go up there, it's not like it starts you from zero. It already knows you've done it. Yeah. So and you want to do those because you get money, you get materials, and you get skill fragments, jewel fragments, in order to level yourself up more. Because if you just go with leveling up, you'll not be able to get everything. But if you make use of all the rewards you can get from just doing everything in this game, you can beef yourself up a bit. And there we go. So this is every single map will have at least one sign that will have a set of trials in it. And sometimes they give out, they all give out a degree of money. Some of them give out materials. Most just give out mallets or skill jewel fragments. And when you complete all the tasks, you go back to the sign and visit it. Because when you complete the task itself, you just instantly get the reward. But once you've completed all the tasks and visit the sign, that's when you get a bonus. So something's going on here. Someone's already starting to rebuild here. We'll see that. We'll see who moves in there in due course.
I'm sorry, I wasn't ready for the janky gait of that porter. Dude, just gallivanting by.
I'm just poking around looking for shrines. I do actually find the 5th... Like, I'll end up with like 4 shrines done, and I find the 5th shrine off screen for a reason I'll explain later in this episode. The game is also nice enough to let you know if you haven't visited a place before by giving it a little blue glowy
sparkle like that, yeah.
And there's like some of the tasks that we need, like the priceless items. There's like every map will have like a few that have like a blue glow, and they have like really good items with them. And I think they respawn, but like finding them is rewarded as a thing. And they haven't spawned yet. We've got the special fonts that we can find under that gate. Apparently, that big gate with the lantern is apparently like there's like a replica of it still in the the same area in Japan. Obviously, it's not called Asukasa anymore. It's something else. And I didn't actually know this until yesterday because I was just reading a spin-off of a kaiji manga. And for those who don't know, kaiji is kind of like a chronic gambler down on his luck guy ends up in various rich people death games, where basically you have to be really good at cheating just to live because they're all fucking rigged, and just like the characters go and visit, and that big lantern and the gate is there, and like they were like gushing over it. And I was just like, oh, okay, it's still there, huh?
I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, like a gate like that is definitely going to be iconic for more reasons than one.
Yeah, it's just got that huge lantern hanging over it. Not far from a temple, because like there's that big pagoda temple.
It's really the big thing there. Like having that sort of thing in a temple itself. It's something that a lot of Westerners end up missing. Is that with a lot of Western religious architecture, it's the facade or something like Notre Dame, and so forth. It's always like you talk about the incredible wall work and such like that. That's all 100% cool and fine. But in a lot of Shinto and Buddhist traditions, the gate matters more than the facade of the building. So it's just something that grand is a little bit like having a wonderful cathedral in your area, even if you're not necessarily religious, or you don't necessarily go to that particular church. Even if you are, just having it around like raises the prestige of the town.
Yeah, so that's another thing we've accomplished just there, is we've taken down enough of the swordsman style enemies that are in this area. There isn't named one, but he won't appear yet. And this location will, once we return here after we visit Yoshiwara, is one where Saber will have a conversation with you. There's a few spots that open up afterwards. But I am still just sort of, poking my head around to pet cats and dogs and pick up loot.
Look, if there is a cat to be pet or a dog to be pet, like I feel like Saber is showing the appropriate level of excitement for it by just charging in astrally every time there is an animal to be pet.
There's one where that I've seen online that I've never actually known how to pull off, where Saber just like outright gets down like almost belly to the ground so that they can look at the dog. Like just goes absolute gremlin mode. I don't know how to pull that off though.
I'm with that. I've definitely done that with cute dogs.
Just gets right in the ground. Just goes, I must inspect the good boy.
Yep. Particularly if they're like a very sociable like shepherd breed or something like that. They'll eat that up. That's a play bow. That's a hey, how are you doing, my friend? And it's a wonderful time for everybody involved.
Yeah, at this juncture, I'm just kind of like, where last shrine? Okay, I'll come back, find it later. It's time to pet this one. What, you thought you could escape unpet?
We were almost free, but
there are so many animals to pet in so many regions. We will never stop petting. And this is kind of what I meant as well by the fact that healing is more efficient if Saber is with you, because the petting goes for longer, so you get more health. There are periods in this game where we'll get to play as other characters as well to see their perspective, and yes, you can pet animals during those moments as well.
Good.
And there's no legitimate stat tracked for those things, but you know what? We're doing it.
そうではないぞ。 吉原は江戸という巨大都市の中にあるのじゃ。ほれ、地図を見て
Yes, it's safe to say Saber comes from a time period where cities weren't quite as big as Edo.
わしらが今いるのがここ、浅草。
Yes, and here we are, pretty much up at the northern tip of it.
で、吉原はここじゃ。
There's Yoshiwara. That's quite a few districts away.
地図はここまで聖地か。なかなかやるな、おじいさん。
そう強くつつくでない。いおりも眺めておらんで、吉原に向かわんか。
Yes, it's time.
いざ、まだ見ぬ吉原の地へ。
She's stoked about this.
Saber gets to see a world like a long time after they lived, where everything is different, new, and exciting. I can't really blame them.
No, I'm not messing with her at all.
吉原か。
待てセイバー、あまり勝手に動くんじゃ。
やはりだ。見ろより。あのワコードも、あの老輩も、おお、あやつも。道行く男の子たちは皆様子がおかしいぞ。鼻の下を伸ばしたり、頬が緩んだり。
Yoshiwara is a red light district,
Yeah.
wherein
Some sort of enchantment. Yeah, I don't care how old your era was. Like you were around with you were around when there were red light districts.
but Saber may not have had a chance to see those sorts of places.
Right? No, particularly considering her incredibly specific guess about princesses disguising themselves as men earlier, getting a distinct feeling that even if she was male in her past life, she was a little bit removed from that strata.
君が同心というやつか。
セイバー妙な名だがもしやあんたも腕が立つ
It's a northern dialect.
イオリより強いぞ。
It's where they do the steamed hams.
そりゃ期待できそうだ。それじゃ早速と行きたいとこなんだが俺ちょっと野暮用があってね。詳しくはそこの旦那に聞いてくんな。
貴殿が依頼主かな。
おう、あんた腕利きなんだってな。近頃銭をたかる連中がいて迷惑してるのさ。どうにかしてほしくってね。奴らいつも帰り道を張ってやがるんだ。道中の用心棒を頼むぜ。
つまり切ればいいのだな。
She didn't mean to just kill everybody?
Not killing anyone. She's just super pissed off about this. Oh, okay, confused.
Yeah, it's just like, what? Huh? Isn't that like, it's just how it goes around here?
そもそもいたずらな殺生は人の道に反する。
I can save his face.
Not impressed.
Iori already knows how to talk to Saber as well, which is like the funniest thing. Like he's like, I have to make sure Saber understands what I'm talking about because I do not want to leave this to chance.
ああ、ものの例えだ。
Like Iori's a much more less intense character than Saber, but he's got lots of character on his own, and I quite like that. Like he's not quite what you would think of like a protagonist in these sorts of things. He's not really blank slate at all.
Yeah, he's
just disciplined.
He's also not completely incompetent, like those said blank slates tend to be. Like there's certain things that he might not necessarily get or understand immediately, but he's got his own competency and skill set here.
任せるがいい。
It's just the shaking the head. My God, the things I'm putting up with today. And yeah, and this place also has its own signpost and tasks. Also, the game's saying, "Hey, dude, you got skills. Get your skills on." I'm like, no, I don't.
I don't think you do.
あれはなんだ。
And yep, another Saber moment.
よりこっちより手を振られているぞ。振り返した方が良いのではないか。
あれは仕事で手を振っている。気もないのに振り返しては仕事の邪魔だ。
そういうものか。難しいのだな。
Sure. We'll call it Muzukashi.
But there's our sign, and you know we've got a few things to do. In part, apparently we have to find Sukunoshin again somewhere in here and speak to him, which is kind of interesting. And we can do some talking to some of the courtesans that are around the place as well.
We have 4 animals to pet at the absolute least.
And I'm just gonna say it outright now. They say courtesans, but it's more like prisoners. Like this place is designed to keep the you saw that big gate. This place is designed to keep the women in. Like
again, that's pretty true to life for the Edo period. The entire one of the primary themes that I'll let people meditate on is that there were a lot of people during the Edo period. Life was common, which meant life was cheap, and that is one of the primary things that makes the Edo period more depressing the longer you read about it.
Yeah, and
Mind, Mr. Manservant.
It's interesting they're called manservants and not thugs.
That's because the difference between a manservant and a thug is a noble's patronage.
Oh, I got stun locked out of blocking that attack, so that was annoying.
Whatever, he's down and you're not.
Yeah. To put it into more sort of context as well. When I talk about it being to keep him in, a lot of these women were tricked or coerced into debt, to usually just to bring them to Edo, and of course the only way to pay that off is through selling their body, and that is a practice that still goes on even today in society.
Yep, and these debts and contracts are structured in such a way that the debtor paying it off is not really a concern.
And yeah, the guy who hired us, turns out he actually did legitimately owe money and just skimped his way out of it again. We've been played.
Later.
Sukunoshin has a lot to answer for his boobery.
これはいささか揉めそうだ。
ああ、こりゃまた派手にやってくれたな。
また逃げられてしまいんしたか。踏み倒されたあげたい。戻ってきなんせんな。
泣かんでくれ山吹さん。まさか用心棒を雇いやがるとは。
貴殿らは。
俺は札差しで、こっちは遊女の山吹さんで、あいつには金を返してもらうはずだったのよ。
私は知らぬぞ。よく確かめぬいおりが悪い。
Thanks, Saber.
Shut up, Saber.
It was just like, hey, look, I was just gonna kill all of you.
I'm just following orders.
I wanted to just butcher you all where you stand. This problem wouldn't even be coming up if you were all dead.
うちの仕事を手伝いな。それでこの件は手打ちにしてやら。
Yeah, so this is a good opportunity to learn the lay of the land.
ひとまずあんたの分は
Make a little bit of money.
立て替えといてやるからよ。
本にありがとうござりんした。夜の支度があるんで失礼させていただきんす。
It's kind of funny in its own way, but the way they've had to sort of do the white makeup on the face and still give her a nose highlight just makes it look like she's from a completely different video game's graphics. But that's that's because if they didn't give her that line, she would just have no nose and would look really, really weird because she's wearing white powder.
Obviously, I don't want you to kill them. Dead people can't repay me.
Yes, that's exactly it. We can apparently turn down the job. I've never done that before because it's It's a good, it's a good way to learn the lay of the land and also get some things. And you get paid.
俺が貸し付けた奴らの一覧だ。きっちり集めて耳を揃えて収めてくれよ。
It also gives us a chance to learn a little bit more about what Saber can do.
まったくとんだ災難だ。解く型をつけろよ。
If it doesn't involve bloody murder, she is just not interested.
Well, there's no Grail War involved,
ちゃ
so
んと全員から回収してきてくれよ。
yeah. Everyone's got like little bits of extra dialogue. And also Puppy.
Puppy.
Oh no, Kitten this time, sorry.
Oh, that's Kitty. Whatever.
よしよし
Just as good.
It's great watching Saber just like run around to get into position. Oh, and
No,
then
she is super into getting into petting position.
It's so funny. I will never stop petting animals in this game, regardless of whether or not I need to.
You should. You should. You definitely should never stop that. All right, you definitely have money.
誰だお前。なんか用か。
Nobody can maintain a physique like that and not have money.
速やかに返すがいい
Problem is he's got a lot of somebody else's money that he needs to pay back.
知らねえな。何のことだ。
すごい。なんと嘘が下手なのだろう。すごいな。
うるせえな。知らねえっつってんだろ。ごちゃごちゃ抜かしてんじゃねえ。
Saber's sass is very good at goading people into things as well, which is always very helpful. And unsurprisingly, it's time to just beat people up.
殺すなよセイバー
Oh boy, got a full-on judo or sumo stomp going on here.
Yep, that's another kind of like major enemy is are sort of the thugs that just use regular fist punching power, and also sumo stomps.
Wherever he is, E Honda is pleased.
出番だ
わかった。
I'm just gonna wash everyone away. It's fine. One of the I think we're at the point now in Japanese history where sumo was more formally a sport. Because I think there was sort of or more of like an entertainment spectacle. Because
Yeah.
we were, even sort of going into the period of the Sengoku sort of stuff, the Warring States period, it was just a means for people to resolve differences between villages. They just get their biggest dudes together and they would just like beat the shit out of each other.
隠してからな。
The biggest dudes were like when he says beat the shit out of each other, he really means beat the shit
It was
out
a
of
brawl
each other.
it was
These
a
biggest dudes very frequently died.
a brawl to the death, basically, and like,
Yeah.
and there's interestingly enough, that's why I think like I've never heard this confirmed, but I'm just going to like pretend it's true. When you think about sumo and how it's basically like if you like you go off your feet and anything aside from the flat of your foot touches the ground, you're out. That's usually because if you fell down, the other guy would not stop. They would just like pummel you to death while you were lying there.
Yeah, like
するのか
sumo basically says, okay, you're out, you're done. These village sumo fights would just be like, okay, you like. We know you're done, but you're not actually done until we can until your body stops moving.
And talking to the courtesans will give us a bit more of an idea of just like the shitty state of everything. Although you probably already noticed that when you pass
Consumption.
when you pass by those gates, boy, the town looks a lot shittier, right? That's where all the people who like work behind the scenes and the courtesans themselves live. So like they live in all like the off the main path, and because people aren't meant to go there, it just looks like garbage. So
to be clear for anybody who's not played Crusader Kings recently, consumption is tuberculosis.
yeah, and tuberculosis is as I always say, it's an incredible killer. Yeah, and also there's be some like random stuff we sometimes get from like enemy drops that we can sell. There's one or two things that we ourselves can make that can be sold like as trade goods, but at the same time, they can be used to like workshop upgrades. Takao Dayu. Dayu is a rank of courtesan. It's basically like it's given to the women who can attract like the best customers. I googled that particular name like a little while back, and it gave a story about a Dayu with a different name who had a like, as the story goes, was attracted an heir of the Date clan, if I believe. And in the story, he becomes obsessed with her in spite of the fact it's like damaging his reputation. He basically like kidnaps her from the place, and when she tries to escape him, he kills her. Although the same, like googling it, like Wikipedia and things like that, said that it was more likely, from what they've found historically speaking, that this woman just died of consumption. But it's it's great, everywhere, fantastic, isn't it? It's lovely. Like you can even still be like the top girl of a thing, and you're still living a absolutely shitty life. Like there's no goodness to this entire situation.
There is not. Like tuberculosis, if you don't have I mean, no, we're not. We were just petting a cat.
Well, yeah, but Saber.
Thanks, though.
Saber was trying to go forwards, but there's like an invisible wall there, so Saber couldn't get around to pet the cat. And and we only triggered it after moving up to pet the cat. It's just a funny little thing. Okay, so Takao Dayu now has a guardian. Interesting. I'm sure that's got absolutely nothing of importance for the rest of us.
None whatsoever. I aggressively look away from our like formidable bodyguard challenge that was clearly on the bulletin board earlier. Dog! Oh shit, belly rubs, boy.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Good thing I'm a dog lover.
You're not a dog lover. What the hell is wrong with you? Like, even if you're like allergic to dogs or whatever, you're just like platonically, I understand that dogs are good.
Yeah, I've just taken a circuitous route here just so we could skip up a few things. And then like set our path on so that we can get a little scene before we go and get the first debtor's money from the high place. Dried lizard.
Dried lizard, sure, why not?
Stayed out in the sun too long.
Oh, this should be good.
Well, we were talking about how life was cheap back in the day.
Yep.
かような亡骸、江戸では珍しいのか？
いや、のたれ死になどはそう珍しくない。とはいえ、見慣れるものではないさ。
そういうものか。思えば、かつての世も似たようなものだった。
I suspect for a completely different reason, though.
そうか。
行くぞ。いつまでも。
Damn, she didn't take the bait.
Yep.
I was kind of curious. I was kind of hoping she would.
What? No, it's far too early to get the exposition on who Saber is. Cat.
God.
Wherever I go, I must cat, and must dog. Okay, let's go. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, here we are.
That's some wonderful, terrifying scaffolding they've constructed.
人気はないな。悪くなさそうだ。
任せよ。
Oh, good. She's actually gonna handle a problem for you? Oh, no. She's just going to give you a boost.
And by doing that, we've learned a Link Strike that you can equip, and they use Affinity to be able to do them, and Iori and Saber will do a team attack. Now, I don't tend to put these on the affinity bar, like on the equip technique section, because in fights sometimes Saber will just go, "Hey Iori, come over here," and you run over, you press Y, and you do that move together for free. So it's just kind of like they'll all get showed off just because the game will show those off. So I'll probably just put more of the general affinity techniques that Saber learns. Also, in the instances where you play as Saber, and there are some where you can play as Saber without Iori around, those techniques are worthless because there's no Iori to do them with.
三浦屋か。名だたる遊女を多く抱えると聞く。
おい、いおり。少しだけあそこに立ち寄るのは。
No.
ダメだ。
Such a firm no. I want to see all the cool people that live in the big house. No, you don't. No, Saber. No, you don't.
The specific form of that he used was dame da, which literally translates to "that is bad."
Yeah, that's not good.
It's a little bit more strong than just the no/ea that you would otherwise get.
He doesn't wishy-wash on these sorts of things. He's outright just like no. He doesn't leave room for like misconstruing. Dear. I've got to say, I always love characters like this. I don't know why, but I always just love people who are like so shamelessly scammy in video games. So the point that not a single person believes them. It's like
woe is me.
You can call them out on their bullshit, and they're like, oh dear, oh no, I must be really sick.
Iori, この塔壊してもいいか？
壊す前に確かめたのは。
Again, he's just like, look, firstly, okay, thank you for checking with me first. Please continue to do that, but secondly, no.
ならば、私が壁を抜けて中に入る。それでいろんなかろう。
The wall is definitely different, right?
Well, yeah, like Iori's like, what?
そこで見ていろ。
いや、待て。
Good man.
せめて人目につかないところで頼む。裏へ回ろう。
Yeah, Saber's about to do something weird. Let's see. This is what priceless items look like. They've got a blue glow instead of a white one.
ここでよかろう。指をくわえて待っていろ。
消えた。
Oh, she actually didn't leave a gaping goddamn hole.
Well, as I said before when I mentioned that Ryder wasn't visible but was still around, this is something that all servants can do. They can cast themselves entirely into their spirit form, which is essentially they're just a bundle of magical energy, and it allows them to do things like that. They can just go through walls.
Okay, cool. That was a surprisingly helpful solution to the problem.
And you will see, and we've likely seen Saber doing it a few times to come over to pet animals and things like that.
Right. I didn't really realize that was the semantic she was invoking.
Yeah, and so that's kind of why they explained it there. He's like they've even sort of pointed out it's already been happening. And it's just like, oh, okay.
壁をすり抜けるとは、サーバント。つくづく人の理解を超える。
Yeah, they are definitely something else. they are closer to ghosts than they are to people. Isn't that right?
Aren't they ghosties?
Aren't they ghosties? That's right. I will involve every dog in every conversation I ever have.
Look, The dogs appreciate it, and it's good for your morale. So like, there's literally no losers. Well, I suppose that there's a loser. I suppose there's a loser. Somebody loses a couple of brain cells watching you act like an idiot. That sounds like their problem.
Anyway, that's Oops, sorry, mate. Just run past the dead guys. Sorry, everyone. I gotta
just plow over somebody mourning over a corpse.
I gotta.
Sorry, bro.
I gotta collect some more stuff. Okay, there's a big man in Yoshiwara. And he's working at the Miura. That scans with what we've heard already about the Dio.
気になるけど、女の私じゃ遊郭には。
Bags of rice.
That ain't easy.
No. A bag of rice is typically something like. It varied a little bit based on the time. I actually don't remember how much it was. Usually it was somewhere between 40 and 50 pounds.
Yeah, so this guy's hucking around like, you know, 400 to 500 pounds.
Right, you know, like this homeboy is basically Little John from the original, you know, frickin' or not Little John, Friar Tuck from the original Robin Hood story, who was said to be able to deadlift half a hogshead, or a hogshead rather, which is 350 pounds. This is fucking man of God, man of the cloth, whatever.
Yeah, you know they said the same thing about David Cameron.
Oi.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
怯えられているぞ。そんな風に怖い顔をするからだ。
He's like, I'm not scary.
なんだと言うんだ。いいか。
My face has nothing to do with it.
It's like, it's probably that your face and your swords are probably doing the spooking. Iori.
もう捕らえるぞ。
So yeah, we're off and racing. Gotta go catch this scaredy cat. Unfortunately, seems like he's really.
Yeah, I was gonna say that appears to be a dead end. Oh, good.
あれは
Oni bees.
Oh, Oni Bee.
かいい。だが、いかにして遊
We'll recognize a lot of folklore monsters from Neo.
Yeah.
And even some of the creatures from here we'll see versions of in Neo 2 when I eventually get back to that Let's Play. Yeah. And now we've got another Link Strike ability. As you probably guessed, we earn most of these either through, through leveling up, but we do also find a lot of these just from around the place.
私一人で。
And the game would take a moment to explain how those sort of Link Strike things can randomly happen in the world, but I kind of Valor Striked through that fight.
Whatever. It don't matter.
Here's the enemy I always have the most trouble with.
弱そうなやつが出たな。
So it's like the boss version of the Oni Bee. Like, typically, if you find those around, you'll see the Cursed Lantern around.
Right.
And the reason why I say this one gives me trouble is mostly just because a lot of its attacks, because it doesn't have arms or legs or whatever, it's just kind of a little annoying. Kind of wibble wobbles around a bit, and then next thing you know, it's actually attacking you.
私が型をつける。
And so now that we've fought this fight long enough, we've actually unlocked the ability to let Saber take over for a little bit.
奴は大技を放つぞ。
And we're going to do that right now.
わかった。
And get smacked. And as you can see, the damage Saber does to the shell just on normal damage is kind of cracked. So like
Yeah.
this has come up in the thread now that the thread's been launched. People were talking about the general damage it seems Saber does when you're not controlling Saber. Like I said before, that's a gameplay contrivance, just so that like you can't just like run around and let Saber do all the work.
待っていろ。
the red sort of power up attacks from these bigger monsters you can't defeat just with like Iori's heavy attack. You need to use an affinity ability or a link strike to do.
I definitely appreciate how the top of the lantern here is being held and used like basically a katana in high stance.
Yeah.
Like, I can't help but notice that.
A lot of really good designs on the monsters here.
Right, like the monsters in these sorts of games always have so much delightful thought put into them. Yeah, stop being such an arrogant weirdo.
いや、貴殿の戦いぶりに目を奪われた。
That's not what I would have said.
Yes, but you've got to remember, Iori is very much sword sexual.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, he sees someone fighting with like this is the language he speaks. So when he sees someone fighting, he can articulate what he's seeing. Which makes the reply that's about to come pretty funny.
読み合わせずただ勝つのみ己が技を押し付けるのみで勝つ並ぶ者なき王者の剣
戦いとはそういうものでは
Just like, yeah, but
she's not wrong though.
Well, I mean, you have to remember these are people from two different time periods of like two different states of conflict. Iori's is a much different sort of world now.
Right, he's very much the fighting arts are required, but they're not so required that they're not without beauty or whatever. And Saber comes from a time when it was just that's how you survive.
Right. So at that particular
survival skill,
and at this particular point in time, we unlock the ability to upgrade Saber. Now I haven't shown it. I've skipped right past it because, as it turns out, because I've beaten this game before, the game basically straight up spoils Saber's true name in the menu now.
Okay.
So after recording what I wanted to for this play session, which is like episodes 3 and 4. I've gone back and wiped my save file and then just like played through the game, basically the entire prologue in one sitting to get to exactly where we were. So I will show those off at the beginning of episode 5. So don't worry, everybody. I'm not going to cut out some stuff. I just didn't realize that was a thing. Like, it had the loading screens, had spoilers in them, but I was always going to cut them out. So I was like, well, that's not a big deal. And then it showed it just at that point. And like, what I've cut out is also like,
are just like, hey, by the way.
Yeah, like it cut out like a minute of me just like staring like glumly at the screen, going, oh god, I hope I can wipe my saves so this works, otherwise we're in so much... Oh, I'm going to have to learn like more video editing so I can just blur out the name for the rest of the Let's Play. Yuri's going to get a lot of job offers throughout this game as well. It's like, I'm in the middle of a battle for my life.
Stop being such an arrogant weirdo.
Dosta? 誰もいない
本に嫌でありんす。ああ、本に嫌でありんす。 吉原で狼藉を働く野暮が2人。かくなる上はわっち高尾太夫がメイドへ送ってあげんしょう。覚悟しなんせ。鈍いな、より。来るぞ。
Homegirl's shoes remind me of a throwaway joke on the old Drew Carey show, where one of the female leads shows up and says, "Hey Drew, what's 8 inches tall and makes me happy?" And she was talking about her new platform shoes.
Well, dressing in an incomprehensibly uncomfortable way for aesthetic reasons is also part and parcel of this job, unfortunately. Iori's like, I'm not gonna flee, I'm going to make a tactical decision and get the fuck out of here.
I definitely believe the whole 10 bags of rice thing with that homie.
Berserkers are a class of servant who could be almost any kind of person, though those who have legends of going a bit wacky at some point tend to be tossed into that as well. But what defines a berserker as a servant is that they have this thing on them called madness enhancement, which tends to make them completely unreasonable to speak to. The ones that are particularly that way inclined are completely incomprehensible, as you saw when he went bloggle 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 and all we got to see was just like weird lines. Like that is just how like there are some berserkers that can be spoken to in like proper dialogue, but they still aren't like quite all there. They're, you know, like, don't ever assume that a conversation you're having with a berserker is like a normal conversation.
The one you think you're having. Well, alright.
But yeah, this fight isn't too difficult to start with because this is just filler. Where we'll be seeing you know, things as we go. But yes, it turns out the Dio is a is a master.
Yeah.
And we've just kind of you know, blundered entirely into their home territory.
Look, man, we were just trying to make rice money.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for us, that fella can carry 10 rice monies. Good as an escape route as any.
Damn sure beats the forced stealth sequence I was afraid they were winding you up to.
Yeah, this isn't a forced stealth sequence. We are technically, quotation marks, running, and there will be areas we're not allowed to go, but it's basically just a case of, don't go this way, go this way instead.
Perfectly fine with that.
Get a couple of visual upgrades. I love how the visual upgrades show up on the weapon as well. So like a lot of games, they just like, you know, you get armor and everything, but the character model doesn't change. But they very consciously made a decision to maintain Iori's model, but they've done the equipment system for the katana instead, and I think that's genius. Like, that's clever.
I mean, it's something that always bugs me in games where they do both. Like Neverwinter Nights and Neverwinter Nights 2 are perfect examples of games where you really fight hard for your identity in those games, especially since, you know, you start as just some random adventurer and you define yourself as you go through those campaigns. And I don't know if this happens to everybody, but I frequently find myself just trying to stick with older and older gear because it's part of that character's identity at that point.
I can get you on that one, yeah. Alright, it's, you know, it does lead into a forced fight scenario, but, you know, we gotta kill some...
That's fine.
Yep.
Combat is what this game was made to do and is good at.
Yeah, there are, at this point in time, no sort of, stealth sections at all. There are sections where you might use that crawl space to do stuff, but it's never a case of you're in danger of getting caught and it's gonna, like, game over you.
Yeah, that's really the thing. Are you trying to make the engine do something that it's not meant to do, and that you don't really care about that much? If you are, you should not do that. It's violating the core game loop. Do not do that.
Yeah, that's...
Whoa, that drop kick though.
Yeah, they don't just have palm thrusts and stomps. They have a good old-fashioned drop kick as well. I love the idea is just like we have to try and follow her, and it's just like, well, where is she? She's wearing like probably some of like the most impossible to like run in shoes in existence. How did you lose her?
I sort of feel like that's a foot race you shouldn't have lost, Iori.
We'll be happy when I do get lots more of my moves, because like you get some really nice ripostes and like counterattacks and stuff with Earth Stance. And yeah, we get just gotta finish off the last thug and we're good.
I'm sorry, just how sad the posture of your enemies are when you interrupt their big look at you.
Yeah, it's like this is my coolest ability, and now I look silly. Please don't do that again.
It's like that one sequence in Dragon Ball Super where it was one of the androids. I think it was 18. Interrupted somebody's transformation sequence. Then everybody stops everything to yell at her and say, "No, you can't do that." And finally, she just shrugs and sulks in a corner while everybody restarts the transformation sequence. You seriously gonna tell me that you just crossed swords like, 20 times or whatever that was, and you didn't actually stop to look at who the hell you were swinging your sword at for a while? Okay, sure, why not? I suppose we'll go with that.
So yeah, like I did say this was the episode that was gonna make blood shoot out your ears. That was why. That's Miyamoto Musashi.
No. Okay, sure, why not? We'll do that.
I will not explain that at all, because it all gets explained in the next episode.
I'm gonna need some time to recover from that anyway.
That's what he meant by master? That's Miyamoto Musashi.
Sure, okay.
Oh dear. But don't worry, next episode we actually get a lot of exposition. It's going to be like half an hour of just straight up explaining everything to us. Perhaps even a little bit more. All the stuff we're missing regarding this waxing moon ritual, how any of this is possible, like what the hell Miyamoto Musashi is doing there, considering the Miyamoto Musashi we saw was an old man in a cave. This will
also is now definitely dead.
And yeah, so that's all going to get explained next time. Because as it turns out, Miyamoto Masashi recognizes Iori, so this will all get cleared up certainly. So until then, I've been the last Robo Guy. Cool guy's dying. I told you it all would happen. I said it, and then I left it for weeks so he wouldn't remember. See y'all next time.
I definitely didn't remember. You got me there, buddy.